Welcome back, all my salamander family out there. This is Abe with Mystic Gen Mara, a small town mystic from the middle of Idaho, and today I would like to offer your August 2025 Fire Elemental reading for the month. Fire covers zodiac signs of Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. So if you're Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius, or have fire high up in your charts, then this one is going to be for you. All the decks and cards I'm using are linked below, and there's also a natal chart down there that is through Llewellyn. It's a really good product. It's not sponsored or anything, but it gives you your base 12 houses with all the little signs and symbols, which are usually Greek to me until you go through the next part, which is 10 to 20 pages of a description. And there's an awesome little section in there that talks about your elemental alignment, and that's where you can find out kind of where your element lies. But Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius are the dominant fire energies. So as we hop in here, we're going to start off with the I Ching, and I cast the hexagram before we got started with the video here. And fire, you have an interesting one. You have number 60, which is the hexagram of restraint. And what they say is this reminds us that there are times when non-action is the best action that we can take. So this is kind of a reminder to pause. So the actual text states, restraint, success. It is wrong to persist in harsh restraint. So a little bit of restraint, a little bit of willpower being exerted here is a good thing, but getting too, I guess we could say, militant about it is going to actually lead to the wrong result. So knowing how to balance that, maybe I need to hold back here or just let it go, is what's being called forward here. So our base foundation, he goes not forth from the outer gates and courtyards of his home, no error. So, and I'm reading verbatim from the text, so you can take this however you want. Gender doesn't really apply, it was written for a different time. But basically it's saying is not going out of your gates and courtyard is no error. So you don't have to go out. They're really saying this month is not about world traveling and going out and doing all the things. It's more about maybe being a bit more judicial with when you go out and what you do when you do this. So it's not saying just frivolously go out every night and party and carry on. But when you do go out, go to like an art show or go to, well, I'm in Idaho, so go to a gun show. Something that actually is more educational and more foundational for you versus just kind of being flippant. They're saying this is a good time to kind of check back in with the home. If you're married, make sure everything's good at home, spend some time with the family. If you're single, spend some time with friends, but it doesn't have to be out and about is what I'm hearing. So that's that restraint part. Our second line, he goes not forth from the inner gates and courtyards of his home misfortune. It doesn't say don't go out at all. It's specifically implying go out for the right reasons. It's not a matter of, I'm just going to go out there, I'm going to party, I'm going to get loaded, I'm not going to be able to show up to work tomorrow. Pick your times, do things appropriately. Showing restraint in this aspect is actually an aspect of maturity is what I'm hearing. So it's knowing when you should go out and knowing when it's best not to. And make sure you're doing something that the impression I'm getting really strong right now is make sure that what you're doing enlivens the soul, that refreshes it, invigorates it, something that's going to be uplifting. And that's why they keep showing me like this amphitheater with a symphony in front of it, or book shows, or something along those lines where your focus is expansion and growth, and it helps you uplift yourself and those around you, or at least gives you a peaceful break from life. Not a chaotic one where you're feeling rough the next couple of days, but more of a calm one where it's more like, okay, this is what I needed. It's just that deep breath feeling. So when you go out, make sure it's for the right reasons, but you don't have to stay home and be a hermit. And that's where that restraint is, that going out, coming in, it's that balancing energy. So our third place line here, where are we at? Sighing over an apparent lack of restraint, no error. If something does happen and you're like, ooh, should I have done that? It's not going to be a big deal. the big energy that's coming forward is make sure what you're doing is for the right reasons, and make sure what you're trying to accomplish as you go around your life this month is something that's going to uplift your soul. They're being a little bit vague on some of this, and I say they, my guides, because they're wanting to make sure that you're the one that's in control of your life. You're the one that's seeking your balance. So if the balance isn't there, that's when you need to adjust. If you're already in a good balanced place where you're getting the proper rest, you're doing the fun stuff, and you're feeling enlivened, you're feeling energetic, you're feeling like, things are going well, you're in the good spot. So that's what they're kind of pointing out. Our fourth place line is peaceful restraint success. So this is really saying finding that peace, finding that balance where, okay, I'm going to go out with my friends. It's a Friday night. I don't have to work tomorrow. We're just going to go out to a movie, or we're going out to whatever, this comedy club. If you have a drink or two, great. That's fine. You come home, you're chill. That's the peace. That's that balance of knowing when it's good to go do stuff. And I don't know why they keep showing me going out to like bars, but there is a balance that they keep bringing forward, and that's what they're wanting to really emphasize right now is finding this balance of when it's appropriate, when it's not, going and doing things, when it's best to stay home, all of that kind of stuff. And it could be a financial thing for you as well, where going out equals spending money, probably not the best decision, where staying home, you save money, you cook at home, whatever it is. So there's a lot of different ways to look at this particular energy, but the restraint is knowing when to act and when to stay at stationary. Yeah. Our fifth place line is voluntary restraint, good fortune. Advancing now wins praise. When they say voluntary, it's not saying that you have to be afraid of, as some people would believe, that there is this forceful, stern Saturn energy, this, angry Old Testament God who's going to smite you the minute you do something wrong. If it's not voluntary, if it's not something that you're choosing to do, you're doing it for the wrong reasons. When it says voluntary restraint, good fortune, advancing now will win praise, knowing when to move based on what your soul, what your guides, what you know is the right thing for you to do is the best option. There's other times where you'll just be like, you know what? There's something telling me I shouldn't be going out this time. I don't need to go do fill in the blank. And it could be a lot of different things. If your instincts are telling you not to, then that's where that restraint comes in, saying, you know what, never mind, we'll just chill. But there's other times where advancing in the proper course, as in towards the goals that you're working on, towards those big plans, those big things. I'm not sure why they're bringing this up, because Fire, you've got this a lot here lately, is this relationship thing. So I don't know if there's someone who's looking to propose, or if there's something going on with a relationship going deeper, but that's a big goal, and they're saying this is where that advancement is going to work best for you, is working towards those big outcomes, those broad-ranging things that you've been working towards. So our capstone here, top one, is painful restraint. Persistence brings misfortune. However, regret will cease later. Even if you... What's the term the youngins are saying now, that FOMO, fear of missing out. Even if you have that, where you're like, well, if I don't and I hold myself back, I'm going to regret this later. You might, or you might not. You might look back and be like, whew, dodged that one. And that's what they're wanting you to understand, is everything comes into play in its most balanced state. So when you, Fire, are looking at things in the world, and they're saying that this one is actually a good time for you to tap into some of your water energy, Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, so you can find that balance where it's not just rah, it's knowing when to bring it down, when to push, when to not, when to make your voice heard, and other times where it's just like, it's not worth the fight. And there's a lot of ways, but they're really saying, Fire, this is going to be a little bit of a trick for you. You're very passionate about life. Leos, you tend to be the bold, outspoken leaders, and they're saying this is a time where it's really a delicate energy, not drastic. The one thing that reading through that and the impressions I'm getting right now, this is not going to be tragic one way or another, because even at the end of it, you're not going to have regrets over the choices that you make. This is a Simple thing of flexing that capital W will, where you're getting a little more control over how you respond to life. And this is what they're wanting to bring forward is this month is you get to play, you get to test things a little bit. So this is a month of exploration for you. And now we're going to hop over into the cards, break this down week by week, see what else is going on here. With that, if you are new here, hit that subscribe button, drop a like on the video, comment down below, let me know your thoughts, feelings, and impressions. And if you see or feel a different impression from the cards, feel free to let me know down in the comments. It's always interesting to hear what other people see when they look at the cards. So we'll hop into that. We go week by week. There's about 4 weeks in August, 4 weeks in a couple days. We'll just do a 4-week set. Each week we look at a guide or guardian, a message from source, which is a positive affirmation, some kind of supporting energy, and then we get a little more clarification from the tarot, kind of fill in the blanks of what needs to be known that week. So for August's first week for our fire family, we have the Rainbow Dragon. Bring the leap of joy that opens new doors. Have trust, rediscover wisdom, expect miracles, and accept opportunities. So, Fire, this dragon is coming forward to say there's a lot of options for you. This is a month of exploration. This is not a stagnant time at all. This is where you get to figure out where your balance is. What is life like when you're in balance? And how does that look for you? For each person, it's going to be a little bit different. So your balance is going to be different from, let's say we're talking to an Aries. Aries is going to have a balance that's completely different from another Aries. They could be twins, does not mean anything. What they find balance in is going to be a little bit different. And that's what the restraint card was talking about, is this month is about you getting to explore this. At the end, no error. So this is a time for you to kind of figure things out for yourself and know that by the end of it, you will have learned, but you're not going to be like, oh, I'm going to have regret for the rest of my life. No, you're not. It's more or less just like, pay attention to what's going on. Like, learn from experiences this month. You're getting a kind of a golden opportunity, Fire, where the universe is giving you the options to learn and the tools to work through situations, which is pretty cool. So, your message from Source is the I Am Presence, your light body activation and accessing the divine within. This is where that restraint is such a powerful thing, because when you pause and you listen to the highest aspect of who you are, you start to see what is the best course of action in most situations. Sometimes the divine's going to put a pause on you being able to hear that to see what your response is naturally. But the I Am Presence, this is the divine spark. This is that breath of life. If we look to the biblical texts, a lot of the older ones will say you carry stardust within your body, or you carry the divine flame. But that's what this is. This is that divine consciousness. This is saying that no matter what you do, no matter where you're at in life, up, down, in the depression or in ecstasy, the divine's with you, supporting you, giving you the tools that you need. The big thing is what are you going to do with those tools? How are you going to respond with these tools? Because it's not always the easiest thing when you get handed some of this stuff where, let's say, one morning you wake up and your intuition suddenly decided to light itself up, and you're sensing things differently. People, when they say stuff, you're like, wait a minute, that's not what you mean. And you can't figure out where it's coming from, because spontaneous awakenings like that do happen. You're not going crazy. You've had a switch flipped. You're ready for the next level of your experience. And that's when you start to really wake up to this fact that this meat suit we're carrying around, that's just one aspect of who we are. There's layers to us. A lot of the esoteric traditions will go to a 3-layer system where you have mind, body, and spirit. Mind, your consciousness. Body, well, that's kind of obvious. But the spirit is that soul aspect that's a little harder to define. And the I Am Presence is what anchors into the soul, animating the other two. And that's what they're wanting you to understand, is you're not just in one aspect of your existence. You are much broader than that. And this first week is saying you're getting the opportunities to explore this month, starting this first week. And so this is what they're wanting to bring to the forefront for you. There's a lot of fours there. Your tarot message is this number 2, so this is Major Arcana. It is the High Priestess. Trusting your intuition, careful reflection before taking action, insights that come through meditation. Again, you're the one in control. You're the one getting to explore this month. This is where you get to flex that intuition. This is where you get to test those waters. What's working? What isn't? How can I make this better? What if I do this? Your month of August for our fire family, all of you salamanders out there, this is going to be an interesting time for you. So let me know in the comments down below, because they're showing me a lot of fun information. Like, you're getting to play total guinea pig. What works, what doesn't this month. And the divine is here to actually support you, give you a little nudge here and there, and that's where intuition kicks in. That's where you know when you're using the right kind of restraint versus the really aggressive one. But overall, again, you may have a little bit of like, what was I doing this month? But it's not going to be a long-term thing because you learned from it. So let's look at your second week. We have the Emerald Dragon, brings in healing and cosmic abundance. That's cool. Good fortune coming. Let your thoughts support your divine perfection. Align with your 5th dimensional blueprint. This is reinforcing that I am presence energy that's coming up. And this dragon wants to help you understand that as you go through this month, you're going to be releasing a lot. We're not talking about little bits and pieces here and there. When you are rebalancing your energies, rebalancing your life, when you start to learn what that restraint is versus intuition versus just complete carefree, not caring what the results are and what the consequences are, when you start to really bring that into balance, the healing that comes forward is, now I know why I fill in the blank. Now I know why I had this urge to go do that. Because it was a defense mechanism. Well, now I don't need that because now I can see why. And when that happens, then you can start to enjoy things from a different perspective. You can still go do the thing, but now you know why it was a compulsion versus now it's a choice. And that is a huge distinction that comes up. A lot of people don't want to talk about that, but it is a real thing. And the Emerald Dragon is going to be an amazing guide in the second week to help you know how to navigate between the two, and also help you. And this could be a guide where it brings you to the conclusion you want to seek out somebody, a counselor or something like that. And that's always an option. And really, this is something else you could play with this month is this something I want to try? Have I done enough on my own that maybe it's time to take a peek into that other realm, get out of just the spirit or just the body and see what the mind fixing is. And that's where you can start seeking some of that help. And that's where the Emerald Dragon is really going to be a benefit for you. So your message from Source is the Soul Star Activation, fulfilling a soul contract, remembering who you are. So you've got a message from Source saying step in and remember, but you also have the dragon that's saying let's heal this and let's bring you into this higher perspective. So the Soul Star sits approximately 6 to 12 inches above the noggin. You have your crown chakra, which sits right here on that little finger. It's about the size of your finger. There's a little flat spot on top of your head. There's that one. The causal sits straight behind it, but the Soul Star is 6 to 12 inches above your head. Some people say it's even higher than that. That's how I see it, is 6 to 12 inches. And in this one, the Soul Star chakra, this is where your connection to your highest aspect is. This is where you start to really understand some of the Akashic records. This is where you start to understand what Metatron's voice is. Metatron's star is up here. And this is where you really step into this power of understanding more about who you are. Getting into that I am presence, getting that divine fire, fulfilling soul contracts, remembering who you are. You have Horus on here as well. You've got a lot of different aspects with this energy, and it's really wanting you to wake up to the fact that you are no longer just a physical form. You're not just your body. You never were. And so this second week is really about growing, healing, and expanding, which ties into what they were saying with the resist aspect of the I Ching. Finding your balance, activating who you are, the Soul Star is going to reveal this information to you. It's going to help wake up this other side of you. If you thought that you'll never be able to achieve an enlightened state, or your clairs will just never wake up. Actually, they will. And the universe and God Source Divine are saying, this is a time where you get to start to wake things up. Again, you're the one that gets to, pick your journey, pick your page, whatever you want to call it, this month, because you get to do the exploration. You get to figure out what works and what doesn't. Does meditation, sitting quietly for 50 minutes in a black room with a blindfold on, does that help you gain enlightenment? Or does going for a hike and looking at the majesty of the world from a mountaintop do it? Both are valid. Both can trigger enlightenment. This is where you get to decide and figure out what works for you, Fire. So, your message from Source, or your message from the tarot, is the Four of Winter. Set aside your concerns for now. You can make decisions later. Solutions that come from meditation and the need for more sleep or a vacation. As you go through this month, Fire, do not take this as, I have to do all these things. No. Sometimes it's good to show restraint and not go do the things. Maybe it's time to just relax, to step back. Not rush around, not go jump through all the hoops. Take a break, because this month, yes, you get to be the one that makes the decisions. You get to be the one that makes all the choices and have the fun. But sometimes that fun reminds you to take rest too. But again, you're the one that gets to make the choices. So the second week is about looking within, connecting up, and then deciding what direction you're going. And sometimes after doing some of those things, it's like, you know what, just taking the break, staying at home, barbecuing on the back porch, even if it's ordering in, whatever it is, but just allowing yourself to chill a little bit. So let's take a peek at your third week here for our Fire family. There we go. And my neighbors are being loud. So, we have for the third week, Rose Pink Dragon prepares your heart to connect with the higher facets of the cosmic heart. Open your heart to warm-hearted love. There's a lot of heart here. And Diamond Light. Connect with the love of the universe. So this third week is about finding your inner spark. Fire, when was the last time that you looked in the mirror and said that you loved yourself? Not narcissism, but just simply, I love you. And when you do that in the mirror the first time, you're going to roll your eyes. You're going to laugh. But then ask yourself, why did you do that? Why did you roll your eyes? Because the Rose Pink Dragon is saying this is where we get to connect to that cosmic heart, that Christ consciousness. Because when you open up the soul star, which happens in the second week, and you really start tapping into that higher self energy, you start to look at things through a different aspect of love and peace. You tap into that agape style love. And this third week is saying, start to understand that sometimes restraint is an act of self-love. Sometimes pushing back on restraint is an act of self-love. But it's because you're challenging your barriers. You're challenging the norm. This is what I've always done. Okay, try something different. Or it could be, you know what? I don't need to go out and do that this time. I don't need to go to the bookstore. I already spent my, my monthly allowance on stuff, because that's what some of us do. But it's really about you tapping into where you stand and understanding that loving yourself in a healthy way, not narcissism is I'm so much better than everybody else. Loving yourself is I love myself even with my flaws. And with those flaws, I choose to learn and grow with them. And that allows me to see others and their flaws with compassion. That allows me to see other people as a whole person, not as, oh, honey, why were you wearing that outfit? Because they wanted to. Maybe they think they look good in it. That's fine. Let them have their moment. What business it is of yours? And that's where that Rose Pink Dragon is coming in, is saying understanding how you love yourself allows you to look at the world outside of yourself with a different perspective. Again, you're the one who gets to play around, and you're the one that gets to explore this month. So this is a different aspect to explore in this third week. Your message from Source is the Anunnaki Light Codes. Energetic shift, new information, it's the end of a cycle. The Rose Pink Dragon is bringing in a divine loving aspect, and the Anunnaki Light Codes are bringing in new frequencies. Because As you go through this month, you're going to quite possibly discover that there's a part of who you used to be that really doesn't serve you anymore. It's no longer a benefit. You're 5 years out of college, you got your own business going. Why is it there's still things that trigger that college attitude? That I've got to go party. Do you? Or maybe go out and have a drink with a friend or something. But does it have to be like, what it used to be? Or you got that new house, you're paying the bills, you've got that spouse, things are changing, so maybe not going out every night for dinner is a good option. This is some of that restraint that comes in, but there's something new that's coming in. There's an energetic shift that's applying for you. This is bringing you into a more expansive state, and they're wanting you to understand they're giving you options as to where to go with this. They're bringing things forward. They're opening up the skies. The downloads are coming in, however you want to look at it. And it's showing you a different way of understanding life. But it's also showing you that with this new understanding, with this new knowledge, there's a door that closes. But look how many options you've got opening up to you. So it's not saying, oh, this is a sad time because I can't do this anymore. Well, why were you still doing that? You've got all this other stuff you could be doing that's way more interesting, way more fun. And that's what they're offering you is this new energy. It's a new way of looking at life, and you're being gifted that fire. You're being gifted this energy of transformation. This month is about you exploring and figuring out where you're headed next. What makes you light up? Your message from the tarot is the Six of Winter. Positive changes on the way, a welcome relief from troubled times, possible travel or relocation. This, one word please. This amplifies the Anunnaki light codes. This is really a clarifier. There are changes. What you've been doing this month, air. Why do I keep calling you air? There's probably some air tied in here, so if you're fire dominant air secondary, or if you've got an air partner, that's probably where this is coming from, so I do apologize for that. But what you're seeing with this fire is this is a time where you are making these changes, and by doing so, it's triggering this positive outpouring from the universe. The very first week is the indicator of this. The rainbow dragon and the I am presence waking up to the fact that there is so much more than just this meat suit you've been carrying around. There's so much more available to you. Fire. Be serious. I'll be serious with you for a second. I like to play on here sometimes too, but the spark that lives within you is a sacred thing. This is an aspect of God's source divine that has been graced to you. What are you doing with it? How are you waking this up? How are you becoming something bigger and better? When you light up fire, you inspire everyone around you. It's kind of your nature. You're kind of a little, out in the public thing. And when we look at fire, it's comforting, it's warming. You know that fire can be the most loving creation on the planet. It can also burn your house down. So that's that balance. But fire, what you're bringing forward this month is, I'm exploring, I'm changing, I'm shifting, I'm seeing what works and what doesn't, because there's something bigger on the way. There's something better on the horizon for me. And I get to play and figure out what direction I'm going. And that's a beautiful gift for you, fire. I'm pretty sure that there's a fire dominant air secondary that is needs to hear this right now, because that's what keeps coming up. So your fourth week, our last week, and we'll wrap up this little chaos here. We have Kuan Yin's Pink Dragon. Bring firm love that resets your karmic balance. Again with the balance, again with the love. See all your cords dissolved by a transcendent love. Enjoy freedom. Look for the divine in and around you. Fire, this last week's dragon is really bringing in and anchoring what the rose pink dragon did. The self-appreciation, the self-respect, the respect for other people, seeing the pathways and the beauty that is being offered to you. There's so many things so many doors that are coming open right now they're saying, yes, you're letting go of some stuff that you at one point valued and at one point actually was super beneficial for you, but you've outgrown that. It's like that old pair of pants that you just don't fit into anymore because you're now 25 and those were your favorite when you were like 6. Yeah, it's things like that where, yes, those were fun and that was a nice thing back then, but you no longer need it. And Kuan Yin's energy is coming in to anchor this higher vibration. So you're shifting through the month. This is where that no regrets come in. Yeah, there's going to be something that, there's a little pushback here and there, but the overall outcome is going to be, wow, letting that go, I feel better. I feel released. I want to go do something. What do I want to do? Where am I going? And so that's where you get to make the new decisions. And that's where this energy of taking a relationship deeper keeps popping up. And it's also this energy of starting something new. Maybe this is where you discover what your soul's mission is. Maybe this month is where you start to realize, you know what, working retail is not my thing, but I've always wanted to go back to school for technology, communications, for psychology. I want to be a doctor. I want to be a lawyer. Whatever it is you wanted to do, this is a good time for that energy to step forward. This is a re-anchoring. This is a clearing of what was. You're never going to forget the past. Don't think that's what I'm talking about. You're releasing the energetic hold it had over you, allowing you to move forward into something better. You're cutting those cords of the past where it's like, I don't need that anymore. And that's allowing you to move into this higher state. Okay, Fire, you can't make this up. And I do shuffle these cards quite frequently, and this set was a lot. Karmic board clearing. Energetic clearing, rewriting your story, living your truth. But your dragon was the Kuan Yin's pink dragon. Brings firm love, resets your karmic balance. See all your cords dissolved. I'm going to hold these two up together. Because your dragon is calling you to, or coming in to help you clear things out. Free yourself from the past. Don't focus on that which does not work. Let it go. Getting the karma to, scrub itself. But your energy, or your message from source, is the karmic board clearing. So this is an energy of release. This is an energy of expansion. Fire, you're allowed to let things go. Yes, your I Ching said restraint, but the restraint was take a pause. What's working? What isn't? What isn't working? Release it. What is working? Do more of that. And this is what they're wanting you to understand is you're the one in control this month, Fire. No one else. This is you. And you get to explore. You get to play. You get to figure things out for yourself. Divine's always going to be there. Your guides and guardian angels are always going to be there. They're going to be watching. They're going to be keeping an eye on you. Make sure you're staying safe. But you get to go play and explore. Figure things out on your own. Your message from the tarot is number 20, which I believe is not the world card. It's the one right before that. I can't remember. But it's major arcana, it's renewal. Review the past and the present so you can plan a bright new future. Understand your life purpose, releasing judgments of yourself and others. Fire, the month of August is going to be, which is actually your dominant month anyway, because Leo's in this month pretty heavy. This is your month to renew yourself. This is your month to shake off the old. Figure out what's coming next, and how are you going to play it out? You get to choose. I'll leave you with this one, Fire. As you go through this month, pay attention to the signs and synchronicities. They're going to be showing you the path, so to speak. They're going to be revealing truths to you that you may not have been willing to accept before, but they're going to be a lot more easy to see now. It's also going to show you the people that mattered the most, and it's also going to reveal to you that you matter a lot more than you might give yourself credit for, because they're showing me that you've got this like obsessive work thing going on right now where you're like, I have to work. Again, general reading, so take what works, leave the rest. And they're saying that's fine, but you also have to understand that taking care of this physical form that you're in is really important. Work will always be there, but take care of yourself as well. Like, do the job, take care of yourself, do the self-care. And that's what they're wanting to really emphasize is when you find that new balance, it's going to feel like the world has shifted, even if it's only within your own mind, because now you understand and you can see how you fit, what's coming next, and how you can actually play within this new energy. So go forth, have fun this month, the month of August, Fire Family, because there's a lot of cool energy coming in here. You get to make the decisions. This is a month of exploration, figuring out where you're at and what you want to do. Let me know in the comments your thoughts, feelings, and impressions, and I will see you in the next video.